as we all get older by the second? Let us know. You can call Nikki on 0845 30 30 961 or text Solent to 81333. It's week 6 of the ongoing strikes by Southampton Council staff over cuts to their pay. Rubbish is piling up in the streets, and today the unions have announced another wage of action, with no date scheduled for further talks. In a moment we'll hear from both the council and the unions, but first our political reporter Alex Forsyth is here to sum up exactly where we're at. So for the benefit of people who may have slightly lost their way as to what's been happening, Alex, can you shed a bit of light on that?
Yes, well, the way the unions have organised themselves in this is a series of short strikes by different departments. Then some of them have gone back to work after that, and some of them have come out again. So we've had parking wardens out, street cleaners, librarians, but by so far the department that's had the biggest impact on the city are the bin men, and they've probably been out the longest as well. And what that's meant is there are piles of rubbish on the streets of Southampton. Now, they're due to go back to work tomorrow, but they're due to come out again next Monday. So it's very unlikely that backlog of rubbish will be cleared in that period of time. However, what the unions have announced today could potentially have a bigger impact in terms of the city's economy, because what they've said is next week port health officials are going out for 5 days. Now, they're the people that do things like issue health certificates to cruise ships and tankers. So what the unions are saying is this could cause serious disruption to ships coming in and out of the port. All right, and just a quick reminder as to what sparked this. What's the dispute over? In essence, it's over a pay cut of up to 5.5% for staff, depending on how much they earn. The council, of course, saying that pay cut is protecting 400 jobs. Now, what they've said to staff is you need to sign up to this by next Monday, July the 11th, or you could lose your job. Now, the unions and the council have sat down on the table to try and resolve this dispute, but it's that deadline of next Monday that's the sticking point. The unions want it lifted before they negotiate. At the moment, the council's not budging, so we've got this stalemate, and the people out there are starting to really feel the impact of these strikes. OK, Alex, well, stay where you are and feel free to chip in, because listening to that was the council leader Royston Smith, and listening on the line is Ian Woodland, and he's Unite's regional industrial organiser. He's on the phone. Hello to you both. Hello. If we could start with you first of all then, Royston, why don't you just lift this July the 11th deadline, because that's getting closer and closer, the 4th of July already.
Yep, we've had that deadline in place for 3 months. We've been happy to talk to the unions for all of that time. We've sat down with them 6 times now since November last year, and each time the unions have refused to negotiate or take part in those talks at all, including the most recent talks with ACAS, where the unions came in again with preconditions. And if you go into a negotiation with a precondition, then obviously you're not there to negotiate.
All right, and the strikes themselves must be costing the council a lot of money, and if more people go out, it's going to cost even more, isn't it?
Well, if the unions think it's a good idea to cost the taxpayers money, then that's for them. Let's be clear about this. The council doesn't have any money of its own. It's only taxpayers' money. So every penny that the unions cost, they cost the taxpayers' money. It's not the council's money, it's our customers.
All right, well, we've got a couple of comments that have come through here. Lorna from Redbridge in Southampton doesn't know why the council doesn't give in, because they're losing money by not charging for the Itchen Bridge, and the piles of rubbish are terrible. And someone else has said, I've had a letter from the council suggesting that they pack the rubbish more tightly, and the situation is useless. We'll offer Ian an opportunity to speak now. He's waiting patiently on the phone. The council made some fairly substantial concessions, raising threshold for pay cuts from 17,500 to 22,000. That would have protected lots of members and brought an end to this strike, wouldn't it, Ian?
Well, before we go on to that, let me just say, we're talking about preconditions here. The issue, as far as the unions was concerned, is that if the date of dismissal was lifted, we will lift the strike action. So it's a precondition, if you like, on both sides. The council want the strike action to stop. We want the 11th of July to stop. Then we want to engage fully and strongly to negotiate a solution to end this strike now. The council had 3 opportunities on the 16th, 22nd and 23rd. They failed to take it up. They're letting down the people of Southampton.
But the 11th of July is going to come, and they're not backing down, and what are you going to do then?
Well, our action continues. We are still within a 12-week protected period for industrial action. We've still got legal claims, which will be going through the tribunal. Plus, we've got our political campaigning, because it's not going to stop just here. We will stop if this, if we can't negotiate a solution with the elections next May.
Already, according to the council, 70% of staff have signed up to the new terms and conditions, the pay cut, and expecting more to do so this week.
I'm surprised so few, because the union is encouraging people to sign up to that's the only way they can keep their jobs. They have no choice but to sign up.
Doesn't that undermine your position as a Monday?
No, it doesn't, because our members are very, very clear. They've been bullied into signing these. The condition is you sign up or you're sacked. And that's the condition. So, of course, they're going to sign up. They're not going to risk becoming unemployed.
Royston, are you bullying them?
No, of course we're not. People that have signed up voluntarily. Most of the people I speak to that have signed up have said that they understand the principle that if you earn slightly less, you can protect more jobs in the organisation. Let's remember why we are here. We did this because it will protect 400 jobs in the organisation. The unions seem happy to let those 400 jobs go rather than people take a small pay cut. And if you look at what they've announced today, they are happy to risk employment and economic prosperity in the port. That's both the containers, that's the cruise ships. They are happy to risk people's jobs and their livelihoods rather than either see sense or come to the table without a precondition.
OK, and then we've got a couple of more comments from our listeners here. One for you, Ian, and one for you, first of all, Royston. David Shirley says that Royston, you should do what he wants the union to do, which is to stop the strikes. All he needs to do is lift the embargo that staff have to sign to new terms and conditions by next Monday or face the sack. Stop this deadline and talk more. It suggests that you're being pig-headed.
Well, I'm happy to take that question. The truth of it is that in the last negotiations we had with the unions while ACAS were there, we offered to suspend the date. But of course the unions didn't want a suspension. They wanted to hang on the word, we want you to withdraw your notices. So we were arguing, believe it or not, on a word suspension versus withdrawal. We could have suspended, we could have still been talking, the unions chose not to.
Is that true, Ian?
No, that's not true at all. I mean, as far as we were concerned, we wanted a discussion to happen without industrial action or without the threat of a deadline. That's the kind of environment that we wanted. Now, by putting a temporary time on it will not allow enough time for us to discuss. And I don't know any negotiation in any part of the country where you have those kind of conditions. We would have engaged with the council fully and as promptly and as quickly as we can. And the council leadership and the council chief executive were fully aware of those facts.
All right, Jess from Shaftesbury for you, Ian, says the council workers should be grateful that they have a job. Other people should be offered their jobs if they don't want them.
Well, I mean, our council workers, our members, are dedicated public servants, and they want a fair deal. They want to be treated fairly. They've been through 3 years of difficult economics. Their families have been hit in all manner of ways by the economic recession. They now feel that they are the people that are taking the brunt. They're taking the blame for this economic recession, and it's just not fair. They're dedicated public servants. They want to get back to work, but they don't want to be bullied. They don't want to lose their pay. They don't want to be sacked.
Ian, thank you. Ian Woodland is Unite's regional industrial organiser. And a couple more for you, Royston. John in Eastleigh says, trim the top salaries at the council. Take 10% off the top management and you'll have the cuts that you need.
Well, there simply aren't enough top management to make those cuts with 10% cuts. But let me just put this into context. Half of directors will now go or have gone. 25% of our senior managers will go or have gone. They have taken the biggest burden. And we are making sure that those on the lowest incomes, currently 17,500, but the proposal that Ian Woodland refuses to put to his members, and that is anyone on 22,000 or below, will not have a pay cut at all.
Brenda in Winchester says, could you live off your workers' salaries?
I do live off a similar salary to my workers. The unions like to put it around that I live in a big castle and I'm a millionaire, but unfortunately that isn't the case, so I live off something very similar to those of the people that we're talking about the pay cuts for.
Royston Smith, thank you very much for coming into the studio and speaking to us on Drive Time on BBC Radio Solent. So there we are. We don't seem to be... Alex is still with me. We're going to get our travel news in just a second, but we don't seem to be any further forward, Alex.
No, we don't. And I mean, what's really interesting is Southampton's the first council in the country to take this option of pay cuts rather than redundancies, and the wider political world really are watching here to see what's going to happen.
OK, thank you, Alex Forsyth. The time now, 17 minutes past. Let's get some travel news here. Keep you on the move on BBC Radio Solent Drive Time with the details, Anna Love.
Thank you. So we still have the problems M3 southbound this afternoon, one lane blocked. It looks like it's still queuing following an accident between junction 8 for Andover, the A303 turn-off and Winchester services. We also have the problems around Christchurch to make you aware of. The eastbound side of the A35 is slow, only just past